What's up, everyone? John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo here, and today Apple finally sent out invitations for their iPad 3 announcement. It's one of those things that's been long hyped, long rumored, and long anticipated, as is generally the case with all Apple events. What we're going to see is still a mystery, but we've got some very strong indications of what the folks from Cupertino are going to announce. So I thought it would be a great time to run through all those rumors, and it can tell you what you can expect as you decide whether or not you want to pick up an iPad 3. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing, it's an iPad, it's a giant screen, so let's go ahead and start there. Seems to be a foregone conclusion we are going to have a Retina display in the new iPad 3. Mac Rumors and later iFixit got their hands on one of the presumed panels, and we've got double the resolution. So we are going to have a screen resolution of 248 by 1536. So a really high definition screen, and I believe the highest definition screen currently on a tablet. On a processor standpoint, what's going to give that screen all of its power? We are going to see quad core. Not sure if it's going to be called A6 or A5X. We saw some specs and leaks of a motherboard, and it showed the A5X name, but also it sort of makes sense to go A4, A5, A6, but we'll talk about what that A5X can mean in just a minute. The one thing that I am most excited about is LTE. Apple has completely shied away from LTE in their iPhones and iPads before, but looks like we are finally going to get true 4th generation wireless data on the iPad. Presumably that's going to come in Verizon and AT&T flavors. Sprint is one of the carriers for the iPhone. They don't currently have an LTE network, so I'm not sure if there's going to be perhaps a 3G version of the iPad for Sprint, or maybe Sprint's going to be left out of the iPad world altogether and just be carrying the iPhone. Certainly a possibility there. The next thing is cameras. The camera on this guy is abysmal. We are hopefully going to see an upgrade to an 8 megapixel sensor, probably built by Sony, the same manufacturer who put the camera in the iPhone 4S. So you'll be able to take better pictures, and that'll be 8 megapixel sensor on the back. Hopefully it'll be a little better on the front as well. From a thickness standpoint, it's going to get a little bit thicker. The folks at Mac Rumors had a chance to get some hands on what they thought might be the outside casing of the iPad 3, and they saw that it went from the iPad 2's thickness of 86.9 millimeters to 95 millimeters, so a little bit thicker, nothing that you might notice right off the bat, but a little bit on the thicker side, and hopefully that'll be able to accommodate the extra radios and a little bit of a bigger battery. I found the battery life in the iPad 2 and even the iPad 1 to be pretty outstanding, so to even have that improved upon is pretty exciting. Alright, so let's go back, as I promised, to that A5X versus A6 processor. There's long been rumors of a smaller size iPad. In fact, in Walter Isaacson's biography on Steve Jobs, they talked about launching the original iPad and how they tried a whole bunch of different sizes, finally settling on that 9.7 inch screen. Supposedly with Steve Jobs said he didn't want a smaller iPad to be released. Possibly Tim Cook has disagreed, and we may see two versions of the iPad launch, perhaps one with a overclocked A5 processor, the A5X that might be on an iPad mini with, we're hearing rumors of an 8-inch screen, and then a true quad-core tablet in the A6, being the successor to the iPad line, the iPad 3. What do you guys think? Do you think we're going to see two tablets? Let's say it seems like a 30% chance that we might actually see another generation iPad. Also, we're hearing rumors that we might get a new Apple TV, not the Apple TV, the Apple branded television set, but that little black box Apple TV that might do some new stuff. Hopefully we're going to have some sort of app infrastructure. That seems to be the biggest rumor, and a little bit of an upgraded processor. So if you're in the market for one of those $99 Apple TVs, I personally love mine, you're going to want to stay tuned to this March 7th keynote, which will be taking place in San Francisco. Of course, Techno Buffalo will be covering it. We'll bring you live coverage of the event and everything that comes out of it, so be sure to stay tuned to technobuffalo.com. What do you guys want to see with the iPad 3? I'm curious to hear your comments. Leave them all down below. I am John Rettinger, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.